Right now on Good Morning America, first look. Breaking news, a massive fire at the largest oil refinery on the West Coast. Nearby residents told to stay indoors.
Sentencing day for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. His letter to the judge asking for leniency.
New evidence that more Americans these days are living paycheck to paycheck. And now, with the federal government shutdown, new concerns about thousands of Americans losing their jobs.
A tragic hit-and-run crash. 2 teenagers killed. The suspect, a 17-year-old, facing murder charges. What we're learning about his connection to one of the victims.
Caught on camera, the confrontation over a noisy baby in a restaurant. Should the mother be forced to leave?
One of the fiercest rivalries in sports. The rookie pitcher who grew up a Red Sox fan takes the mound for the Yankees and stuns the crowd. Plus, one of the best plays we've seen all year.
Taylor Swift's new album released overnight, and the reviews are in.
And later, the new study on when the human mind reaches peak performance. And it's not in your 20s or even your 30s.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Morgan Norwood.
And I'm Victor Okendo. We begin with breaking news. A massive fire in Southern California.
People overnight being told to stay inside after an explosion at a major oil refinery. Overnight, firefighters rushing to the Chevron refinery in El Segundo, California, after reports of an explosion.
That was a terrible explosion, very loud, shook the house, like more than any earthquake ever before. The sky, like we noticed, like all went red. First, we didn't understand what's happening.
Towering flames and billowing smoke seen for miles across the South Bay area, where many residents reported hearing a blast.
All of a sudden, lots of cars on the streets, so people were leaving the houses in a panic.
Residents in the area told to stay indoors as the firefight ramped up. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the explosion, but officials saying the flames were confined to one area. The oil refinery is the largest on the West Coast, spanning 2 square miles. It supplies more than 40% of the jet fuel and more than 20% of the motor vehicle fuel for Southern California. It's so large, it has its own fire department with 24 full-time firefighters. And the good news, all workers have been accounted for. The governor says his office is coordinating with local officials to ensure public safety.
Today is sentencing day for music and fashion mogul Sean Diddy Combs. If prosecutors get their way, Combs will spend another decade in prison, but his attorneys hope to convince the judge that prison isn't necessary. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, Sean Diddy Combs preparing to learn his fate. A judge will sentence him today on 2 prostitution-related convictions. The music mogul was acquitted in July of more serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges, but still faces a potentially lengthy prison sentence. Prosecutors asking for 11 years. Combs' lawyers say the 1 year that he's already spent behind bars should be enough.
It's going to be everyone's last opportunity to give any kind of mitigation or aggravating factors to either increase or decrease his potential prison sentence.
Combs is expected to speak at today's sentencing. In a letter to the judge, he requested leniency, saying, "I want to apologize and say how sincerely sorry I am for all the hurt and pain that I have caused others by my conduct. I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs." He also apologized to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, the woman he was seen assaulting in this Los Angeles hotel in 2016. Combs saying, "I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I loved. I'm sorry for that and always will be." The defense will also point to the work Combs has done in prison, teaching a business management class. One inmate saying, "After the first class, I can see how he became successful. He is a dedicated, motivated individual." The defense also submitting a letter from one of Combs' other ex-girlfriends, identified as Gina, during the trial. She contends prosecutors pressured her to feel like a victim. Prosecutors have asked Combs' former assistant to deliver a victim impact statement today, and Cassie Ventura has already submitted a letter telling the judge she's scared Combs will walk free, writing, "His first actions will be swift retribution toward me and others who spoke up about his abuse at trial." Experts say the judge's sentence will likely land in the middle.
We do know that the government is saying that there are some aggravating factors that the court should consider, and that's why they believe that 11 years makes sense. But of course, there are going to be some mitigation there as well. But I would imagine the judge looks somewhere in between the requests from both sides and aligns more with the probation report.
The sentencing hearing is this morning, and people were already waiting in line yesterday, hoping to get a spot inside the courtroom. Victor, Morgan.
Andrea, thank you. We turn now to the economy and new evidence that more Americans these days are living paycheck to paycheck. And now the government shutdown in Washington could leave thousands of people looking for a job. ABC's Johny Fernandez has those details. Johnny, good morning.
Morgan, the Trump administration is warning of mass layoffs at federal agencies as Republicans and Democrats point fingers at each other over who's to blame for the government shutdown. It's day 3 of the government shutdown, with neither side willing to compromise on a spending plan. The Trump administration now turning to unprecedented tactics, hoping to get Democrats to give in.
I'm allowed to cut things that should have never been approved in the first place, and I will probably do that.
President Trump saying he's meeting with top budget official Russ Vought of Project 2025 fame to determine which of the many Democrat agencies he recommends to be cut. Trump calling this an unprecedented opportunity to shrink the federal bureaucracy, cutting programs that don't align with his agenda. Democrats claim Trump would have made the cuts even without a shutdown.
The Trump administration has been firing thousands of federal employees outside of the context of a government shutdown since January 20th.
Democrats say they'll only support a government spending plan that reverses cuts to Medicaid and extends Obamacare subsidies to prevent health insurance premiums from rising. A new poll shows a majority of Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown. The White House aiming to convince Americans otherwise. Running shutdown clock on its website with the caption, "Democrats have shut down the government." And employees of at least one federal agency say their out-of-office emails were changed without their approval, to include a message blaming Democrats. Some ethics experts say those tactics could violate a federal law that bars federal resources from being used for politics. Meanwhile, as the administration targets Democrats, it's also considering a massive bailout of up to $14 billion for farmers hit hard by the shutdown, which has closed farm loan offices, just as tariffs take a major toll on soybean farmers. It's not just farmers struggling. The monthly jobs report, set to be released today, has been delayed due to the shutdown. But a new report from Goldman Sachs gives a grim economic outlook for many Americans. It finds 42% of younger working Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck, and 74% are struggling to save for retirement. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says a vote today on ending the shutdown is likely to fail, and no further action is expected until Monday.
Yeah,
Morgan?
Both sides still very far apart on this, Johnny. Thank you. Well, the man who attacked a synagogue in the UK has been identified as a British citizen of Syrian descent. Police surrounding the man on the ground wearing a vest before fatally shooting him. They say they feared that the vest was a bomb. Earlier, investigators say the man rammed a car into the crowd and then started stabbing people. 2 men were killed.
Now to a tragic hit-and-run crash. 2 teenagers killed in New Jersey. The suspect, a 17-year-old, now faces murder charges. We're learning more about his connection to one of the victims and the girl's family, speaking out last night.
To Maria, my sweet girl, I will miss you every single day for the rest of my life.
We're now hearing from the grieving families of 2 teenagers killed in a hit-and-run in New Jersey. Authorities say the crash that left Maria Neotes and Isabella Salas dead was murder. A 17-year-old suspect is under arrest.
The whole community really joined together and, provided whatever evidence that the police needed.
Prosecutors say the girls, both 17 and described as best friends, were hit by an SUV as they rode an e-bike down a residential street. Friends of the victims say there had been issues between the suspect and one of the girls. The victims' families calling the suspect a coward who had been plotting this attack against Maria for months. In a live stream shortly before the arrest, the teen, believed to be the suspect, can be heard saying he has more information about the circumstances behind the incident, but he never went on to explain those circumstances, instead saying he's been the victim of bullying. Maria's mother, speaking after her daughter's wake, said her impact will never be forgotten.
Her life may have been short, but it was powerful. She loved deeply, she gave generously, she dreamed boldly. She wasn't just my daughter, she was my best friend.
Prosecutors are not ruling out charging the suspect as an adult. He He received 15 tickets in connection with the crash, including driving without a license.
Well, a bizarre rescue in Maine. Officers rushing to help a man stuck in waist-deep mud while he was duck hunting. He called 911 when he got stuck. He tried to get free, but the more he struggled, the deeper he sank. It took 2 officers to lift him up and get him onto their boat.
Time now for your Friday weather.
Good Friday morning. We're staying unsettled in the northwest today. Center of the country turning up the temperature, gusty in the southwest and in the northeast. Nice, but well above the seasonal average heading into the weekend. We got to talk about the record highs in the Midwest as we head into this afternoon. We could see record highs in Minneapolis. Tomorrow, Sioux City getting close to 90. Indianapolis, both today and tomorrow, could see record highs in the mid to upper 80s. Here in New York City, looks like we're close to the seasonal average today, but we're in the 80s for the weekend. In New York, I'm meteorologist Danny Beckstrom, ABC News.
Coming up, a sunken treasure finally found.
But first, a megachurch founder and best-selling author pleading guilty to child sex abuse.
And Prince William gets personal. His revealing new interview on his family, his future, and his electric scooter. The founder of a Texas megachurch has pleaded guilty to child sex abuse charges. Prosecutors say Robert Morris began molesting a 12-year-old girl in 1982, and the abuse continued for 4 years. The accuser came forward last year. Under a plea deal, Morris received a 10-year suspended sentence with 6 months in jail.
We head across the pond now to Prince William getting personal in a new interview.
This morning, Prince William opening up in what palace sources say is his most revealing interview ever.
I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda.
In a new episode of Eugene Levy's Apple TV show, The Reluctant Traveler, the actor asking William about his future role as monarch.
I don't fear it. That's the bit that excites me, is the idea of being able to bring some change. Not overly radical change, but changes that I think need to happen.
The future king implying the monarchy needs to modernize. Starting with how royals move around the castle grounds.
This is your mode of transportation.
It is right here.
William giving Levy a tour of the nearly 1,000-year-old Windsor Castle, saying that while tradition is important, it needs to be questioned.
There's also points where you look at tradition and go, is that still fit for purpose today? Is that still the right thing to do? Are we still doing and having the most impact we could be having?
William not addressing the state of his relationship with his brother Harry, but opening up about his children and wife Kate, who along with his father was diagnosed with cancer last year.
You maybe think to yourself, it won't happen to us. But when it does happen to you, then it takes you into some pretty, not great places.
And looking to the future, William invoking his brother as he talked about his own son, Prince George, one day becoming king.
I want to create a world in which my son is proud of what we do. In a world and a job that actually does impact people's lives for the better. That is caveated with, I hope we don't go back to some of the practices in the past that, Harry and I had to grow up in. And I'll do everything I can to make sure we don't regress in that situation.
And the interview premieres today on Apple TV+.
A real-life treasure now on display after being recovered from a shipwreck off the Florida coast. $1 million worth of gold and silver coins lost at sea when a hurricane hit a fleet of Spanish ships back in the 1700s. Well, the salvage company says the dates are still visible on some of those coins, which are now headed to a museum.
That's so incredible.
Pretty cool.
Well, coming up, the confrontation over a noisy baby in a restaurant. Should the mother be forced to leave?
Also ahead, a bombshell development in the case of a Utah woman who wrote a book on grief after allegedly killing her husband. Back now with scary moments for commuters outside New York City. Flames engulfing this New Jersey transit bus. About 50 people were on board. A blown tire is blamed for this fire. Everyone is okay.
That's certainly the good news. Well, a major development in the case of the Utah mother accused of killing her husband with fentanyl, then writing a book about grief. Lawyers for Corey Richens are now demanding she be released on bail after a key witness recanted his story. Robert Crozier now says he was detoxing from drugs and out of it when he told police that he sold fentanyl to Richens' friend. He later told prosecutors he did not have access to fentanyl. The defense claims that prosecutors did not share that information.
We turn now to Georgia and the confrontation over a noisy child in a restaurant stirring debate.
So this gentleman here is telling me to tell my 8-month-old to stop screaming.
It's the video sparking a fierce debate over whether babies should be allowed to remain in restaurants when they get a little loud. V. Whitaker says she brought her 8-month-old daughter, Montana, to this Georgia cafe for lunch when Montana started making noise. That's when another diner told her Montana's screams were hurting his sensitive ears.
You need to learn to be respectful.
She's a child, sir. It's not me. I didn't do anything.
He told Whitaker if she couldn't keep her infant quiet, she should leave. But Whitaker says she and her child have a right to eat out like everyone else.
I'm telling him, you can leave. I don't have to leave. If you have a problem with it, you can leave.
A manager eventually came over and the complaining diner left the restaurant. Whitaker then shared the encounter on social media. One person responding, "It's a public place. Babies are going to be in public. You have to prepare yourself for this as an adult." While others saying it's the parent's responsibility to calm a child down. This person writing, "If the baby is constantly screaming, it gets annoying," adding, "I get his point."
No parent, no kid should feel like they don't belong because of another customer.
Whitaker says that the diner who complained has since apologized.
Well, coming up, the new study on when the human mind reaches peak performance, and it's not in your 20s or even your 30s.
Also ahead, our resident Swiftie, Will Gans, on Taylor Swift's new album, released overnight.
Back now in time to check the polls. Swifties rejoice. We begin with Taylor Swift's new album dropping overnight.
One new track, The Life of a Showgirl, which is also the title of the album. Take a listen.
And she said to me, "Hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life."
Sounding good. This is Taylor's 12th studio album, and our resident Swiftie, Will Gans, has been listening overnight.
And happy Life of a Showgirl release date to all who celebrate, and there are a lot who do. Overnight Target stores across the country opening at midnight so Swifties could get their hands on special editions of the album in stores. And elsewhere, Swifties hosted listening parties to enjoy the album together. I went to one here in New York City, and the verdict is in. It is pure pop perfection, but don't take fans' words for it. Rolling Stone gives The Life of a Showgirl 5 out of 5 stars, and the New York Times calls it her Eras Tour victory lap. There are love songs about Travis Kelce with lyrics about wanting to have kids with him. There's a diss track that fans think is aimed at Charlie XCX. That's the artist who gave us Brat Summer and once opened for Taylor Swift on tour. My take on the album, it sounds sunny and sequin-skinned even when it's introspective and melancholic. And when the world feels a little bit heavy, that's just what the pop culture doctor ordered. Guys.
Well, thank you. He clearly loves the album. Let us know what you think about the new album. Drop us a message on Facebook. All right, well, next, one of the fiercest rivalries in sports, the Yankees and the Red Sox.
It was do or die. Game 3 of the Wild Card Series last night. Yankees rookie pitcher Cam Schlittler, who grew up a Red Sox fan near Boston, dominated the Red Sox with 12 strikeouts over 8 shutout innings. But his performance was overshadowed by that incredible play right there. Whoa. Third baseman Ryan McMahon running full speed, making that catch, flipping head first. Well, really, it was head over heels there into the dugout. Yankees winning 4-0.
All right, and on Thursday Night Football, an overtime thriller, the 49ers hitting a 41-yard field goal off the goalpost, and then later making a big stop on the 4th down to beat the Rams, 26-23. So close. Well, finally, surprising new research about age and the human mind.
Researchers say that your mind actually peaks at age 60. Even though the body may be starting to fail, intelligence, judgment, moral reasoning, and emotional stability tend to be their finest between the ages of 55 and 60. But as expected, people in their 20s have an edge when it comes to memory recall.
That certainly tracks. All right, we'll check the top headlines next.
Checking more top stories, crews are battling a massive fire inside a Chevron oil refinery in Southern California. Local residents say they heard a rumble followed by a huge blast. Warnings issued overnight telling everyone in the area to stay inside.
Tesla is facing a lawsuit after a California teen was killed in a Cybertruck crash. The family claims the design of the door handles is to blame, claiming that the fire shut down power to the doors Tesla not yet responding.
This morning, the App Store no longer includes apps that people use to report sightings of immigration agents. Apple says it has removed Ice Block and similar apps at the request of the Attorney General.
The FDA has approved a new generic form of the abortion pill, mifepristone, the second generic abortion medication on the market. Health Secretary Robert Kennedy recently announced a review of the pill's safety.
And today's weather, stormy in the northwest, summer-like temperatures in the upper Midwest, sunny in the northeast and across much of the south.
And finally, some special dogs on the ride of their lives.
Here's Danny New.
A man and his dogs riding through the Midwest with the wind in their hair and in their appropriate eyewear.
It's fun. It really is.
Jerry Dale here lives in Derby, Kansas, a perfect place to have two dogs with a unique desire to ride around on a motorcycle with Dad. His pit bull mix in the sidecar, that's Harper. She was the first one to demand to hit the open road.
We were walking her, let her go to the bathroom, and walked by the Harley, and she jumped up on the seat.
But only Charlie here is allowed to ride on the highway in his vet-approved backpack and what Jerry refers to as his doggles. In fact, this video has picked up more than 20 million views on TikTok, in part because folks are blown away by something special Charlie does at the end of each ride with those doggles.
All right, buddy.
When they're done and they park, Charlie knows he can finally take them off. One commenter writing, he looks like a real-life Snoopy.
Oh, he's fascinated with you, isn't he?
I love you, in case that wasn't clear. But what really makes these dogs so special is how much they've overcome. Harper here was rescued by a shelter after being dumped in a winter storm with buckshot in her hip. Meanwhile, Jerry found Charlie abandoned in the middle of the road with worms and more than 80 ticks.
The vet said he was probably 24 to 48 hours away from death.
Well, now they're having the time of their lives on the open road, and Jerry says he notices some jealousy when they pull up next to other dogs.
It's almost like you can see them going, why can't I do that?
And guys, if you were wondering, yes, Charlie's ears are dyed. Jerry says it kind of started as a joke after they first shaved him down, and now he goes to the groomer every 5 weeks, and I love that it makes him look even more like Snoopy.
Too cute. That's your GMA First Look.
Have a great weekend.